Hello there, in this video I will be doing 2 pages of Create This Book. I'm starting with page 196. It is a pet dedication page. I will be dedicating it towards all of my personal pets. I have had several pets and I decided I was going to draw all of them. I am not including family pets. I started by trying to trim a piece of printer paper into the shapes of the paper in the book, but my paper cutter kept messing up. It kept scrunching up the paper instead of cutting it, so I took out the blade to look at it. The blade was fine. I cleaned out the little runner underneath the blade with my X-Acto knife, but that still didn't work, so I threw it away and found another one. It was kind of sad to throw it away though, because it was my grandma's. Once I finally got some paper trimmed, I cut out a little window on the left one so that it could show the words of the prompt on the page. I like to draw in color on separate pieces of paper outside of the Create This Book so that if I mess up, it's easy to throw it away and start over. So here is my very first personal pet, not including dogs and cats that my family had. This is Brownie. I named him after the dessert, not the color. He was a brown and red betta fish. He lived fairly long for a betta fish, I'm pretty sure, but also I was 5 when I had him, and when you're 5, pets seem to last a lot longer than they actually do. Next is my first pair of gerbils, Fred and George. I got them on my 13th birthday, and they are kind of more officially my first pet because they're the first pet that I had to take care of myself. The fish I had when I was 5, so it obviously wasn't actually me taking care of him. So the gerbils are kind of my first pet. This started off my obsession with gerbils and rodents in general. Gerbils are my favorite though. Fred and George were my longest lasting pair of gerbils. They lived for about 4 to 4.5 years. I'm not sure how old they were when I got them, but I had them for like 4 years. And that's really long for a gerbil. I have always found that in every pair of gerbils, there's always the soft, fluffy, fat, lazy one, and the thinner, insane one with lots of energy. In Fred and George's pair, it was Fred as the lazy, soft, gentle one, and George was the psycho gerbil. Fred was a little bigger, a little chubbier, a little bit less energetic, and George had a lot more energy and was a lot more curious. After Fred and George passed away, I got 2 female gerbils, Ray and Ahsoka. In this pair, Ray was the smaller, crazy gerbil, and Ahsoka was the more relaxed, gentle, very fat gerbil. She wasn't an unhealthy fat, but I'm pretty sure she's the largest gerbil I've ever had, and I don't really know why she was so large. Ahsoka was also the prettiest gerbil I've ever had. She was a nice, kind of middle to dark gray with a dark gray tail and ear tips. She was just so pretty, and her hair was a little bit longer and very soft. She was also really relaxed with me, and I could pick her up and hold her, and she didn't want to escape, especially if she had a Cheerio. She was content with anything. After Ray and Ahsoka, I got Tolkien and Gandalf. Tolkien was the smaller, crazy gerbil. If I put him on my shoulder, he would climb all over me. He would climb up to my head. Once I tried to set him loose in my closet with the door shut just so he could have some free space to run, and he found one of my dresses, climbed up it, and tried to climb up onto the big bar that held on my clothes. So I had to rescue him so that he wouldn't fall and hurt himself. And Gandalf was the chubby, timid one. For some reason, both of them passed away young, and I didn't get to have a lot of time with them. Because both Ray and Ahsoka and Tolkien and Gandalf all seemed to die pretty young for gerbils, I wanted to take a break from gerbils and try out having a hamster. That did not go well. I named him Horace. He had long hair. He was a long-haired Syrian hamster. I got him from a pet store. It probably would have been better if I had gotten him from a breeder because they know a little bit more about the hamster's history and try to hand tame them better, but I got him from a pet store. He had a bad attitude and we just didn't get along with each other. He would get bedding tangled up in his hair and I would try to cut it off of him, but he would just whip around and bite me. So I just kind of let him be, just gave him food and water, cleaned his fish tank, but just kind of let him be. I didn't try to tame him or play with him or anything. That's why I drew him with a grumpy face. For all of my rodents, I have kept them in either a 10-gallon, 15-gallon, or 20-gallon fish tank, depending on what fish tank I had purchased at the time. I would never, ever, ever, ever put a rodent in any plastic anything, because they will chew through it immediately and either hurt themselves or give themselves digestive problems or chew their way out and escape. So if you get a rodent, please put it in a glass aquarium. Except for rats and guinea pigs, those are much bigger and need different enclosures. But gerbils, hamsters, mice, please put them in a glass aquarium. My next pair of gerbils after my hamster passed away were Buford and Baljeet. Sadly, they died so young. Baljeet, I don't remember how long I had him, but it couldn't have been more than a month. And Buford, a couple months. I seriously don't know what happened to them, what was wrong with them. I always got gerbils from pet stores because there were no breeders around me. So I just never really knew the medical history of the gerbils or the breeding history. So I'm just thinking that they were just poorly bred and had some problems that I could not figure out. Even my mom's a veterinarian, she could not figure it out. And what I could find online, that wasn't helping, so I have no idea why my gerbils all get this mysterious disease and die young. Now that I have thoroughly bummed you out, let me tell you about my last gerbil, Omega. I took about a year break from having any pets, and then I decided I wanted to try gerbils again. And so I went to the pet store, and there was only 2 pet stores where I live. One of them, the local pet store, didn't have any gerbils, so I went to the big corporate chain pet store, and all they had was one singular gerbil. And that's not ideal. It's better to have gerbils in pairs because they'll get lonely, and it's just better to have 2 gerbils. And all they had was one singular gerbil, and the pet store attendant told me, this one is a little squirrely, she's a little crazy, she's gotten used to me, but not anybody else. No one else here is willing to touch her. And I was like, I don't care. I love gerbils, even if she's a little crazy. I'll take her. So I bought her, and yeah, she was crazy. She woke up every morning and chose violence. Her favorite thing to do was try and bite me. So even though I tried to hand tame her slowly with socks covering my hand, it wasn't going anywhere. So I was like, you know what? I still love her, but I'm gonna love her from afar. So she got lots of treats and food and water and new bedding and all the things, all the joys that a single gerbil can have. But she was never properly hand tamed. So yeah, but she was fun to have. She was fun to watch. She had a lot of energy, and her name, Omega, like, what a cool name for a gerbil. To capture her crazy personality, I drew her holding a knife and a match, and I drew her name in flames because I think she would have wanted it that way. Once Omega passed on to Valhalla, I got the crazy idea to try having pet mice. I was unable to find any fancy mice, the mice that are bred to be pets, so I just got 4 feeder mice, the mice that are bred to be eaten by snakes, and they only come in 2 colors, white and brown. So I got 2 brown ones, 2 white ones. Don't know why I got 4. It would have been okay to just get 2, but I was like, I have a 20-gallon fish tank, and mice are small, so I'm gonna get 4. Their names are Franny, Frida, Sharpie, and Freya. Rest in peace, Freya. Freya passed on early, but I've still got the other 3 right now. And I have mixed feelings about them because they are cute, they are friendly. I've never been bitten by any of them, even though I have 4, but they stink. They stink so much. I don't know why they smell so bad. I clean out their fish tank every Saturday with that anti-odor bedding, and they just stink so bad. Thankfully, they're in the basement with me, not upstairs with the rest of my family. They don't have to suffer as much from their smell, but they just smell so bad. I've found ways to help mitigate the smell, but but still, compared to gerbils and hamsters, they just smell a lot. And I've heard that male mice stink even more, so I'm very glad that I got female mice. I currently have 2 of the white ones and 1 of the brown ones, and I was hoping that their personalities would come through, or I'd be able to notice different physical differences so that I could tell the white ones apart, but I still cannot tell the white ones apart. I've had them for almost a year, and I can't tell Sharpie apart from Frida. They look the same, they act the same, I can't tell them apart. But thankfully, Franny, I know, is the only brown one left, so I got her name down. So I wanted to name them all names that started with F, so that's why I did Freya, Franny, and Frida, but I couldn't think of another name that started with F that I wanted to do, and at the time I was marking one of the white ones with a Sharpie so I could tell her apart, so I decided to just name that one Sharpie. So that's why Sharpie's name is different from the rest. After I finished drawing all 15 of my pets, I glued the pages in to create this book. Once I finished the pets page, I moved on to page 188, Create Timed Decoration. Use a timer to decorate this page in exactly 10 minutes, no more, no less. I did plan out the colors and the design beforehand, so I don't think that was cheating, but I did do that beforehand. But once I set the timer, I did everything in 10 minutes. My design was a pumpkin patch with mountains in the background. Because it is still fall, it is not Christmas time yet. Christmas starts after Thanksgiving, so most of November is still fall, so I'm still doing fall themed stuff. It did get a little sketchy near the end. I was running out of time, so the background for the dirt is very patchy. And I didn't get to do as much details on the pumpkins as I wanted to, so they are a little bit washed out and kind of the same value as the ground around them. But the mountains in the sky look pretty good. Because I was going so quickly, I did get a lot of marker on my desk, but don't worry because a magic eraser cleaned that all up very nicely. Once I cut out a window for the text, I glued in the pages. Here are all of the completed pages. I found out from this prompt that gerbils are really hard to draw. It's really hard to make them look like gerbils and not look like hamsters or chinchillas or chipmunks. So all the gerbils look a little different from each other, especially Omega. She looks more like a squirrel or a chipmunk for some reason. But I know they're gerbils, so that's all that matters to me. And I'm pretty happy with the time decoration. I wish the pumpkins weren't so washed out, but I still like it a lot, and I like that the goal was more to just sit down and finish the page really fast than to create something perfect and amazing. And here's a bonus segment of family pets that were not included. They are Clovis, Igon, Finley, and Zuzu. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!